It's a Southwest Airlines plane and a private business jet narrowly avoiding a collision at Chicago's Midway International Airport. This was on Tuesday morning.
And here it is, the Southwest flight coming in for a landing and then quickly going back up again after it was almost on a collision course with the pilot of the smaller jet that was crossing the runway at the same time. So thankfully, the Southwest pilot was quick thinking, by the way, and saved folks both in that plane and also the one on the private jet driving on by. Here with us to weigh in, Michigan Congressman Jack Bergman, a former commercial airline pilot and co-chair of the Congressional Aviation Safety Caucus. So, sir, you're the right person to talk to in this moment. We played the video here. Could you walk us through what's going on and what clearly almost went terribly wrong, but went wrong enough for it to be so close?
Well, one of the things that as I viewed the video, the most important element is to view the soundtrack, if you will, going on, the communications between the tower, between the aircraft involved. But all you see there is the Southwest jet going around. When you track the communications, it was pretty clear that there was some confusion on the part of the little private jet there.
Congressman, I'm going to pause you. I don't mean to, but we actually have that audio track that you're referencing. So let's get all the viewers on the same page, and then we'll have you respond. Here's that.
Okay.
Roger that. Maintain 3000.
Flight 560, hold your position there.
504 up to 3000. Position flight 560.
Flight 560, continue across the hold short of hotel.
Cross the hold short hotel, flight 560.
Flight 560, your instructions are to hold short of runway 31 center.
And you hear it. He says to hold short there of runway 31 center. But obviously, as we see, he doesn't. And Congressman, if you wanted to respond to that, and what was happening with the air traffic controller?
That's the whole point, is that the private jet that was cleared to taxi made the mistake of not holding short. So he didn't adhere to the instructions given to him by ground control, who was controlling it. What's so important here are two things. Number one, vigilance on the part of the pilots with the, if you will, the visual, which you saw the Southwest pilots go around. It's a combination of hearing and seeing and communicating. Even these things, unfortunately, do happen, which means that it's only more important for the training that goes on all the time, whether it be amongst the pilots, whether it be amongst the ground controllers, the air controllers, whoever's happened to be, at that time. This is not a normal occurrence, but it also just says the importance of aviation safety standards and the adherence to them for this, safe travel of anybody who's flying. Statistically, and I know may sound like, bad things happen. This was a mistake, and there will be appropriate actions taken against that pilot for more retraining and make sure it doesn't happen twice. But it just, as pilots, we are always on the edge of our seat, literally, especially as it comes to takeoff and landing, the two most challenging parts of any flight. And it's good on the pilot of the Southwest for making sure his situational awareness didn't get distracted by just landing the airplane as opposed to seeing who was going to cross that runway.
Yeah, and I've heard the comparison too. You're more at risk of getting in a crash on the drive to the airport than actually on your flight. So it's rare, but we've just seen more and more. And with everyone able to access technology, everything's caught on video these days. The Transportation Secretary, Sean Duffy's weighing in just to reassure folks, saying the NTSB FAA News investigating here. The incident at Midway. However, it's imperative that pilots follow the instructions of air traffic controllers. If they do not, their licenses will be pulled. And even President Trump, in the midst of his busy schedule, caught this moment too, just like the rest of us. He says, great job by the Southwest pilots in Chicago, a nearly tragic close call. Perhaps suspend the pilot's license of the other plane who must have been sleeping. Congressman, your thoughts there?
Well, the point is, I would suggest to you, probably there was maybe potentially for inexperience on the part of the little private jet pilot, and got a little confused. One of the things that's important to understand, I don't care whether you're an airline, the military, anybody, it's called selective scheduling. and you don't put two brand new pilots in an aircraft at the same time. We all have to get our experience through our flight hours, through all those real world kind of situations that we deal with. But the selective scheduling for pilots, the airlines do it, the military does it. Then you have to have the private sector to make sure that they are not being expeditious in their scheduling for the wrong reasons. So it's diligence.
Yeah, I wanted to ask you too. I mean, obviously, there we're talking about situational awareness. It clearly was not there for the pilot that was piloting the private jet. Obviously, we talked about the radio communications with ground control. But obviously, you didn't see the giant airliner coming your way out the window as well. So it goes back to your point of situational awareness. But Emma touched on this too. We've seen a lot of these. We've seen a lot of crashes. We've seen a lot of issues with planes. Remember this Delta? This was in Canada, in Toronto. But this plane landed. It looked like it caught on fire, then flipped over belly up, injuring around 18, I believe. Everyone making it out alive, obviously, here. Then there was a $30,000 offer to every passenger on board if they decided not to sue, which some of them now are suing for a whole lot more than that, claiming they almost lost their life. But what do you say? Because there are, to the American public that fly or choose to fly and travel, which obviously millions and millions do, but you're seeing some wild times where some people are walking down those jetways and they're splashing holy water on the planes. I mean, there's a lot of concern. How do you tone that down?
Well, how can you create an environment where people feel safe exiting their home and going about their daily lives? We have to realize that people have to be aware of their surroundings, in this case, the pilots, in the distraction. Let's say the two pilots of the small jet were looking down at their approach plates or their taxi instructions, when one of them should have been looking out of the cockpit. It is all about training. It is all about awareness of your personal surroundings. Somebody walking down the street, be aware that the neighbor's dog might be out and may be hungry. You don't want to look like food to the dog. Okay? We have personal responsibility, but I'm here to tell you that the aviation industry is the safest mode of transportation historically and will be for the future, because when something bad happens, we tear it apart, figure out what happened, and train and retrain all those involved to get it right. Make sure it doesn't happen twice.
Yeah. Indeed. And Sean Duffy is leading the way in the Secretary of Transportation. President Trump tuned in as well. And I guess last chance is that holy water that people are bringing. I got a flight tonight, Congressman. I'm sure it'll be fine. I'm sure it'll be fine.
Well, I'm going flying here in a couple of hours. I'm taking off out of D.C.
Yeah.
Now, this is an attempt at humor, but I'm a Lutheran. I don't do holy water.
I'm a Catholic. We'll cover the bases.